eager. Cool. Okay, so I'm logged in right now with a test account here, and essentially the first thing that I am a maintainer, right? So I've already applied my repos to the Wave. In reality, about 60 or 70 of you have already done that on the real Wave, which is amazing. We're going to start reviewing those repos very, very shortly. So be on the lookout for an email that confirms your repo being approved. So as you can see, one of my repos has been approved. So as a maintainer now, what happens is essentially here on this maintainer issues dashboard, I can see all of the issues from all of the repos that are approved to be part of some Wave program. And essentially now what I have to do is add some of these issues to the Wave explicitly. So basically I have to go through my issues and kind of pick things that are very worthwhile solving and kind of fit well into this 1 week sprint. We also just posted a blog post about how to write meaningful issues that are really good for Waves, which Hugo has posted. I think the link to that is already in the chat. So if you're a maintainer, please do read that and make sure that your issues are high quality and fit very well into the Wave. So basically now, I have a little demo issue here, and the first thing I have to do is to just add that to the Wave, right? So as a maintainer, I can see this button here, add to Wave program. When I click that, I have to choose the complexity. So we have some guidance for this as well in the blog post. So again, please do read that. But essentially, the idea here is that kind of small, trivial issues that are very, very easy to solve should be, set to the trivial complexity. But then we have the ability to kind of make issues that are a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit larger in scope, maybe a little bit more complex to solve, especially for beginners, as medium or high complexity, which will result in additional complexity bonus points being earned when they are solved. So for example, this demo issue is obviously highly complex, so I'm going to set that to high. And then just have to pick the Wave program here. In reality, that's going to be the Stellar Wave, of course. And then I can just add that. And as soon as that's done, let's give it a second here. You can see that it's been added. It's now worth 200 points, and it's added to the Wave. And if we go over to GitHub, we can see that our helpful friendly little bot here has left a comment on the issue describing everything that's going on. And it's also tagged with a test Wave label, which, by the way, after your repo is approved, you can also add that label to issues on GitHub directly to add them directly to the Wave, which is kind of a nice little productivity hack, I suppose. Cool. So now most of you are contributors, right? So you're asking yourself, how do I actually get started once the Wave opens next week? So once the Wave opens, essentially what you can do, I'm going to just go ahead here and log into a different account where I am not a maintainer. There we go. So now I'm basically, on the contributor side, and now my task is essentially to just kind of find something to work on, right? And the way I can do that, there's multiple ways really, but one of the easiest ways to do that is to simply navigate to the Wave once it's live. You can see that it'll show as active, and you can see all the dates directly on the screen. And then I have this issue view here, right? So if I click on issues, I see all of the issues that have been added across all the repos that are approved, across all the different maintainers to this particular Wave and the number of points that they're worth, right? And actually one thing we just shipped already for the first Wave is we have a new repository picker. So you can also go here to filter and filter by repository, but also actually click here on browse repos. And then you just get this breakdown of all of the repos that are approved for this particular Wave. And you can also see the language breakdown. If you're kind of looking quickly for some technologies that you're familiar with, that's a great way to do that. You can even also filter by primary language if that's what you're interested in. And of course, this shows also a link to browse the issues from those repos. So if I click on this test repo, for example, you can see that there's 10 issues, and it brings me straight back to the issues view with that filter pre-applied. So now I can browse all the issues from that repo. So this issue looks highly interesting to me. I think I can solve this very quickly. So I'm going to apply to this now, and I can do that with this very obvious link here. Or, of course, if I navigate to the issue on GitHub, there's a link directly here posted by the bot. So if I click on that, it also brings me directly to the application view, right? So in reality, of course, now is kind of your time to convince the maintainer that you are the right person to work on this. I am not going to do that. I'm going to write a really bad application. Don't do this in reality. I'm just going to say I'm literally the best developer on this planet, and I can solve this in 10 seconds. So that's my application. So I'm going to take and apply to issue. And now what this does, actually, it sends, of course, notification to the maintainer to make sure that they review this on time. And if I go back to my contributor dashboard here, you can see that this issue is now at the very top. And you can see that here's my application, right? So this is essentially what the maintainer sees. And also on GitHub, this is all logged. So as you can see, it left a comment in my name saying that I have applied to this. Here's my application text. And then also next, the maintainers to please review this quickly. And they can do that by either going to the UI here and then approving this particular application, or even by just assigning you to the issue directly. So both of these things work for maintainers. So it's very important that when you want to work on an issue as part of the wave, like once the wave starts, you have to apply through this link or through the wave app, because otherwise our system simply cannot know that you've completed the work. So it's very important that you do that. Just keep that in mind. And that's basically all there is to it. Cool. One thing that's also visible here, something new that is quite exciting, is you can see that on the application, there's some metrics here, right? So if I click on view details, I actually see the new wave metrics that we've built. Someone on our team, our data wizard, Warren, has shipped this service, which is also open source, by the way. You can check it out. That essentially looks at a GitHub account, like aggregates a bunch of data, compares it to like the broader population of open source developers, and then generates these metrics that are really intended as kind of a non-judgmental, quick way for maintainers to understand, which applicant might be the right one for this issue, including also the languages that they're proficient in, and some aggregated metrics across their open source career. You can read more about this also in our docs if you're interested in how exactly all these metrics are computed. And of course, this is a point that we're going to very much evolve over time. This is really just the beginning, but we hope that this makes it a little bit easier to kind of understand, which applicant might be the best one to pick for a particular issue. Cool. So yeah, what's next after you've applied? Essentially, we're going to go share more information as we go. Obviously, the wave is only opening up for applications next week. But essentially, the process goes that you're assigned to the issue, you open a PR, you solve the issue is marked as resolved by the maintainer, and then you earn your points. And then those points eventually, as we've already said, and also already described in our docs, turn into rewards, reward balances, which you can, once you're eligible and have verified your identity, withdraw on the Stellar network. And about the rewards, we're also going to be sharing a lot more information about this very shortly. Kind of all the details about how that works, how you can request withdrawals, etc. But that's kind of all there is to say at this moment. And we're very excited to get started very, very shortly. That's all.
Amazing. Thank you, Jason. Just as a reminder, a lot of the questions are being heard. We're just going to address most of them more at the end. So I'm going to pass the ball now to Hugo. Hugo is going to share more housekeeping not rules, but housekeeping information, operational stuff that will address some of the questions that I was checking in the chat. So Hugo, you can take it over.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome again to Stellar Wave Community Call. We're so excited to have a lot of builders and maintainers on this call. So for those who do not know me, I am Hugo, Community Manager at Drips, and I'm going to be your point person. So if you have any questions, any inquiries, or any issues at all, feel free to tag me on the Discord, and I will be sure to get to your questions as soon as I can. So very, very quickly, I am going to be welcoming some people from some communities. I don't know if we have builders from Blockchain UNN. If you're a builder from Blockchain UNN, just react with an emoji. Great. We have some builders from Blockchain UNN. Okay, so next on our list, Web3 Bridge. If you are a builder from Web3 Bridge, let me see you react with an emoji. Great, we have some builders from Web3 Bridge. Okay, next on our list, we have Blockheader. If you're a builder from Blockheader, let me see you react with an emoji. Great, Blockheader is duly represented. If you're a builder from block views, let me see you react with an emoji. Oh, great. We have block views. Okay, so the last but not the least, if you're a builder from GitHub Academy, let me see you react with some emojis. Awesome. We have builders from GitHub Academy. It's great to have you all on the call. So very, very quickly, I'm going to be running through a couple of things. First of all, is the wave timeline. The wave is going to be lasting for exactly 10 days. So from the 21st to the 31st, we're going to be having the wave. PRs are going to be submitted and these PRs are going to be reviewed. So I need you to understand that every single thing you're doing has to be done within this window, this 10 days windows, 21st to 31st. So if you're submitting a PR, submit it early. If you're reviewing a PR, review it early. So next up, just a few tips. So make sure you pick a work that you can cleanly resolve within the window. Do not pick something that is too complex for you to like do within the window. Yeah. So I'm just going to be giving a few tips for contributors and maintainers. I'm going to start from the contributors. So if you're a contributor and you've been assigned to an issue, make sure that you let your maintainer know where you are where you're at on the issue. So if you're working on an issue, a couple of days have gone by, make sure that on the PR thread, you can tell the maintainer, okay, I've started on these, I'm facing this blocker, I'll be done with it by this time. Yeah. So for maintainers, it's also very important that you're available to answer these questions because contributors are going to be having a lot of issues, probably issues with setting up the repo, strategy issues, or how to approach the issue. So it's very, very important that you're available to answer these questions just to make sure that we're following. Let me see you react with some emojis if you're following and you understand everything I've been saying so far. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so strictly for maintainers, these are a few tips I would advise you work with during the wave. One, I would advise you clearly state an ETA on your issue. So if you have an issue and you need it to be resolved within an expected time, for instance, 3 days, 2 days, it's very, very important that you state this clearly on your issue so that contributors know what the expectations are and then they do not halt or slow down development. Also, as a rule of thumb, I would advise that you have a few good first issues. Good first issues are always very great for onboarding beginners or newbies to open source. So it's very, very important that we take into consideration that a lot of people are starting out their open source journey. So it would be great to have like issues for them too. So these are a few tips for contributors. When you are applying for an issue, make sure that this issue actually matches your skill set. You cannot be a developer who writes Rust, for instance, TypeScript, and you have no experience with Rust, and you are applying for a complex Rust issue. Maintainers are always going to see this on your application, and it does not reflect well on your profile. So introduce your relevant skills clearly. So you're resolving a Rust issue, you have TypeScript skills, you have Solidity skills. It's very, very important that you introduce your relevant skills, the skills that are actually going to help you to resolve that issue. Another tip is to show a simple plan. So most maintainers are going to be looking at your application and are going to be looking to see if you have like an approach to resolve that issue. So in your pitch, make sure to like write an approach on how you're going to resolve that issue. So I think the last one is if you are applying to any issue on any project, it's very, very important to actually go through the repo, know what the project is about, see if there are any specific rules in the documentation before applying. So as Jason has already said, for maintenance, we have published a blog and I've shared the link in the chat on creating meaningful issues. It's very, very important that you create issues that actually move your project forward. So do well to read the Creating Meaningful Issues blog. I'll also share it later on the Discord and on our other communication. So yeah, to reiterate over this, if you have any issue, you have any questions, you're stuck anywhere, you can take a look at all the links in the chat box. We have the demo, we have the documentation. The documentation should be your best friend because every single question you probably will have has already been answered there. So first through, check the documentation. If it's not there, feel free to enter the Discord, tag me, and trust I'll be here to like answer your questions as quickly as I can. Or if I can answer it, I'll route it to the person who can. So that's it from me. Let's make some waves. I'll be handing over to Becca now. Thank you.
Amazing. Becca, I'll pass the ball to you, but it's super important what Hugo is saying. If you're a contributor, tackle something you can tackle, right? Something that you feel, it's going to push your skills, but you can actually do it and be very communicative. What's your ETA? When are you expecting to get this done? If you are getting stuck, share feedback. That's super, super important. And we just share all the documents, all the links that you need there. If you have questions, go to Discord. The docs are right there. So everything is there. Next step, Becca to share a few interesting things. But before, Jason, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry, just jumping in. One more thing I would like to stress as well is like if you have applied your repo to be part of the first wave program, please make sure to put a README that like explains kind of your project and what it's doing, and also its relevance specifically to the Stellar ecosystem, because that is going to make it a lot easier for us to kind of work together with Stellar and understand really like which repos are valuable for the wave. So if you haven't done that yet, if your repo doesn't have a README and you have applied it, please, relatively quickly add it to make sure that we can actually understand what your project is about.
So a good README.
Yeah.
Wave for contributors and for everyone is starting on the 21st. Registration for maintainers started yesterday. So you can go and apply and have a good README so that, you get into the wave. All right. So now, Becca, you can go ahead.
Hi guys, I think some of you will met me, but we've got a lot of new faces today. So quickly introduce myself. I'm Becca. I work on the marketing for Drips and Drips Wave. Super excited to get to know you all. You'll see me in the Discord every now and then I look after all of the social channels and stuff. So what I want to announce is that we did a small campaign that ended earlier this week, where if you signed up in advance, you could get 100 bonus points if you then went on to solve an issue. We thought it's a shame that that's over, so let's do another one. So I'm going to announce now that we have made a bunch of GIFs that are going to be super cool. I will drop those in the Discord later and make sure that you all have access to them. We're going to add them to Tenor so that you can use them. And one of those GIFs is an I'm joining Stellar Wave 1. So I can announce now that if you share that on either X or Blue Sky, you tag us and you follow our account, you can get yourself another 100 extra bonus points. So I will share this on X and we will have a page on the website. It's not quite ready yet. I was hoping it would be, but that's my problem, not yours. I will drop that in the Discord later, along with all the T's and C's, so that you know how to get involved. And let's make some waves. Let's get some new devs with us. We're super excited to build this community, and I'm excited to see where we go with this. So yeah. Full T's and C's coming later, but yeah, if you want to get a heads up and start to follow us on X or Blue Sky already, on X, our handle is @DripsNetwork, and at Blue Sky, we are on drips.network. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you all and what you achieve, guys.
Let's go. So something super important, we're going to share all these links right after you get everything on Discord. And then related, if you see any community that could be interested in joining the wave, you can intro Hugo or me to them, and then we will give them this nice shout out at the beginning of the wave and a few different things. So if there are any communities you're part of that don't know about the wave, let us know and we're happy to onboard them. All right, so next step is we want to carve a bunch of time for Q&A. I know we have a lot of questions on the form, maybe some questions were not asked. So feel free to put them either on the form right now or on the chat. We're going to be looking at both two things. So I'm going to pass the ball to Hugo, who's going to MC this part. And then the team is essentially going to be answering all of these questions. All right. So Hugo, you want to take over?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone again. So very quickly, we're going to be getting to the questions. Okay, we're going to start with the questions on the form, and then I will be checking through the chats or at the same time to see if there are any questions there. So I'm going to be reading out a few questions. I think I'll just read these three in one. How does the distribution system work? As a contributor, if I make just one contribution in the wave, will I be eligible for rewards? And is there rewards for project maintainer? So I'm going to allow Kat to answer that. So let me go again. How does the distribution system work? As a contributor, if I made just one contribution in the wave, will I be eligible for rewards? Is there rewards for project maintainers?
Amazing. Thanks so much, Hugo. And yeah, if you haven't met me already, my name's Kat. I'm on the product team here at Drips. Really excited to have you all on board. And yeah, me and Jason are going to answer a bunch of your questions right now. So yeah, the first one, most important, how does the distribution system work? So basically, you earn points for completing issues throughout the wave. You'll be able to keep track of where you are on the leaderboard throughout the whole wave. And then at the end of the wave, all of the points will be totaled, and we will split the pool amongst maintainers, contributors based on the points. And so, yeah, so that answers question 2 as well. So like as a contributor, if I just made one contribution during the wave, you will receive points for that contribution and you will be eligible for a distribution at the end of the wave. And excuse me, sorry. Are there rewards for project maintainers? The answer to this is yes. We're going to be working with maintainers at the end of the wave to deal with their rewards. But the most important thing for contributors is the points, earning as many as possible, and that will give you a higher proportion of the reward payout at the end of the wave.
Okay, great. If you still have any, issues understanding that, please feel free to specify what exactly you did not understand about it. So I'm going to be moving on to the next question. Can a maintainer own more than one project in a wave?
I can jump into that. Yes, absolutely. So you can sync essentially as many repos as you want and apply them to be part of the wave. If you have multiple repos and they are all individually, a good fit for the wave and, fit the criteria and they are clearly relevant to the Stellar ecosystem, they will be approved. And yeah, you can, add issues from all of those to the wave. No problem.
All right. So moving on to the next question, what are the skills or technologies I need to be able to contribute? Okay, I'm going to say a few things about this one. What are the skills I need to contribute or be able to contribute? So basically, there are going to be a lot of projects that are going to be participating in the waves. They're going to have front-end issues. They're going to have back-end issues. They're going to have an array of issues. Smart contracts. So for most projects on Stellar, Soroban is what is used to build for the smart contract. So I believe Rust is very important in that regard. For front-end repos, most people use Next.js, they use TypeScript as the primary language for the front-end repos. So I think these are the skills you basically need. I don't know if Kat or Jason wants to say anything more on that.
Okay. No, I mean, guess maybe just one way to sum it up is like essentially anything that is kind of relevant in the Stellar ecosystem is a great skill to have, right? Because that's what the wave is all about.
Yeah, great. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What does continuous participation as contributors in multiple wave builds? Is there a progress in rank, levels, or benefits or achievements unlocked?
Yeah, this is a really, really great question. And like, I guess it's one of like my favorite things to think about as a product person is like, what does this actually contribute towards like over time? And we've got so many ideas for this. Like we have so many ideas about things that we want to do with the points, the leaderboard, like levels, like in the program, like not just on the tech side, but also Lucas and Hugo have like lots of ideas about working with communities as well, that have like they've contributed lots to waves and stuff. So there's loads more coming soon. This is just the first wave. We're really excited we can kicking this off with you and like growing this with you as we go.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Kat. So I'm going to be moving on to the next question. Next question, I'm going to be reading one from the chat box. Can maintainers also participate as contributors and be eligible to earn rewards?
Yes, absolutely. So like everyone is a contributor by default, basically, if you just log into the app and you can, once the wave opens, you can apply to things. And then you can also be a maintainer by syncing your repos on the maintainer dashboard and applying them. And you can be both. So there's no limits in this regard.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Jason. For the next question, I think there are a lot of questions around this area, so I'm just going to summarize them as one. The question is about the requirements to get approved as a maintainer. How do I add my project to the Stellar Wave? So that's basically the summary of the question.
Maybe I can quickly jump in on the latter part there, and then Kat can take it to the eligibility. So in order to apply your repo to the Wave, all you have to do is log into the Drips Wave app, and then head to the maintainer dashboard orgs and repos screen on the left side. And then there you will see you will basically be launched into a flow that like walks you through installing the GitHub app on your GitHub, synchronizing your repos, and then applying them to the Wave. So you just have to find that, and then it's essentially all quite simple. And then we are going to review periodically all the applications and approve them very shortly. I'm also just going to drop in a link to the docs on that as well.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, and when it comes to criteria for approving projects, so basically what we're looking for is for the repo to be real. It has a history of issues, commits, PRs, devs. So that's like the sort of very basic criteria that we're looking at. But obviously, because this is the Stellar Development Fund Wave, we want the project to be built on Stellar, and also we want to make sure that everything is legal and above board. So yeah, that's kind of our main criteria for approving projects at the moment. As I keep saying with like lots of different things about the Wave, is like we will probably be refining this criteria over time, but we will communicate everything with you ahead of each Wave starting.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jason and Kat, for those responses. So I'm going to be reading another question now. Would there be a way to actively check all your applications and its different states directly from your dashboard? Like, would you be able to see if your application is rejected, approved, or still pending from one UI?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yes, so there's a contributor issues dashboard in the app. On the left-hand side, you basically see contributors there with a little number that indicates the amount of issues that you've applied to. If you go to that view, you will see all the issues that you have applied to, and it will also have a little tag saying things like, assigned to you or rejected, stuff like that. And also, of course, we will send you in-app notifications if you get approved or rejected from something. So you can take a look at those as well. And you can even get emails as well. If you go to the settings page, you can actually customize exactly what you want to get an email about on the notifications tab. So yeah, make sure that those are configured as you would like them to be.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Okay, but can a maintainer contribute to their projects? Won't that lead to farming of rewards? So this person is asking if a maintainer can contribute to his own projects and still endpoint for that.
Yeah, no, so you can't. Like, you can't apply to one of your own issues. That's something we've blocked for obvious reasons. And also just want to make sure that it's clear, like there are, of course, some rules. So like make sure to look at the docs. There's a section there called terms and rules. Please do read that carefully. One of the things that says is like, if we detect any kind of, attempt to, like try to game the system, like make it unfair for people by like, artificially inflating points or like solving your own issues, stuff like that, alternative accounts, you get the idea. Then that would, of course, result in like points being removed because it's just unfair for everyone. So yeah, don't do that. And, it's all going to be a lot of fun for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. So to answer a specific question here, the question is basically about if a contributor is not submitting the work and is not communicating. So if a contributor who has been assigned to an issue and is not submitting the work and has not communicated, even though the ETA has passed, it's very okay to reassign the issue to another contributor. Okay. So I don't know if you, Kat or Jason, want to say anything about that too.
So maybe I can jump in there. But yeah, like we obviously just encourage everybody to be as communicative as possible throughout the process. Let us know if there's going to be issues. We also have a specialized support area for helping to deal with these issues. So if there is something that comes up during the Wave and you need us to help you out with it, you can get in touch with us and we will do our best to get back to you as quickly as possible and help you resolve any of these issues.
Okay, thank you so much, Kat. Someone has a question in the queue. Okay, sure. You can unmute yourself and talk.
Okay, sorry. I really want to clarify two things. Would maintainers get a platform where they can communicate with the contributors under their project, like a platform where all the contributors are going to be there, right? How we used to do with Telegram at the time, so that you can talk with just your contributors, because it will help you know how to reach out to people that have been efficient for a while. And then secondly, for people that are just coming new into the Web3 space, my team, we launched a CLI tool that would help you scaffold and build on Stellar just by running an npm command. In case you don't understand everything about the Stellar SDK, you just get it one-off through the tool. So yeah.
Okay. You can share the link to the scaffold tool in the chats section so that we can check it out. Thanks for that input. Yeah, so I'm going to allow Kat and Jason to answer that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that feedback. It's really good to like keep learning like how you've like used these programs in the past and like what we can do to make your life easier. We don't have like a chat function inside the product right now. We would encourage you to like like use Discord DMs or set up Telegram groups, but this is all really great ideas, and we've thought about like how do we put you in touch like outside of the platform as well. So I hope we will have something that answers that by the next wave.
Thank you so much, Kat. I'm going to be reading another question. Is there any limit on the number of issues a contributor can apply for, or can they apply to multiple issues without restriction?
Right. So currently we have only kind of abuse level limit. So like there's no kind of built-in limit like that at the moment. So you can essentially apply. Of course, like we are aware that this is potentially a spam problem. So if someone spams, please let us know. We will do something about it because that is also, of course, against the rules. And this is also like the first wave, obviously, brand new product. So stuff like that. We're going to be, collecting data on, understanding concerns over time, and like making tweaks in the upcoming waves. So yeah, very excited to see kind of what goes well, maybe some things that don't go so well in the first wave, and then make it better every single wave going forward.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jason, for that response. The next question on our list: are issues restricted to code? Will issues like technical documentation be valid?
I can say some stuff on that. So like, it's like this is something that like we have thought about. It's not like quite clear yet, like how to what extent this is going to happen. So far, we have not like put anything in the rules to like discourage any non-direct code contributions. I think a good rule of thumb is that anything that results in like a commit or repo is definitely totally cool. But it's kind of something that, we're going to see also like with Stellar, like what they think about this going forward. But generally, I mean, yeah, if you're committing kind of documentation to a repo, that's a code contribution as well in some way. So that's definitely not a problem.
Okay, so thank you so much for that response. In response to this particular question, how often is the wave is monthly? It's going to be a monthly cycle. So every month we're going to have the wave for 10 days. So another question is, is this OSS only available to Web3 developers or both Web2 developers? And is it only a Rust-based ecosystem?
Yeah, let me take that one. So it's generally available. I mean, as a contributor, of course, like anyone can contribute. Doesn't matter if they're already in the Web3 ecosystem or not. In fact, like one of the main points for doing that is to like grow the Web3 ecosystem, right? So like getting people from outside Web3 in is like one of the main goals of this whole operation, really. So that'd be great. Of course, on the maintainer side, like as we've said a few times, there are eligibility criteria for the repos, so they have to fit the particular ecosystem for the wave program. So since this first wave is sponsored and organized by Stellar, they will have to be Stellar related Web3 repos, right? But of course, who knows, maybe there will be other wave programs in the future. So let's see.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. I have a very funny question here, and I'll read it out. So the question is basically if Drips can fly him to or her to Mars for an unpaid vacation.
Unfortunately, no. But maybe, if you get 1 million points, we'll do it. Let's see.
I don't think any of us have ambitions on space travel.
Awesome. So I think those are all the questions we have on the form right now. If you have any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. Okay, I'm seeing some questions here. Can a project with existing user traction on another chain be migrated into this wave if it is submitted as a new repository?
Good question. So I would say in that case, like we need basically, like when we approve the repos, we have to kind of understand the relevance to the Stellar ecosystem. So if you have a like plan or like an outline of like what you're planning in regards to Stellar specifically in your README, for example, then I could, like that seems like something that would be approved generally. But of course, if a repo is just like a Web3 project from a different chain, then that doesn't immediately fit the criteria. So if you are in a situation like that, which is a little bit special, you can also just feel free to reach out to us on Discord or using the support chat on the page, and then of course we can take a more direct look at your particular situation in regards to deciding the repo eligibility.
Awesome. Thanks for that response, Jason. Another question we have here is, will a repo with a comprehensive README about the project without any PR merged be approved for the wave? So it's basically asking if a PR that has no activity before the wave but has a comprehensive README will be approved for the wave.
I'm not so this depends on a few factors that I don't think we can, it's a per repo thing. We are hoping, by the way, I know it's kind of a question that a lot of people have, is what actually are the criteria? And this is something that we are hoping to be able to share in more detail very shortly. It's just that right now we're really in the process of first understanding even what kind of repos are being applied. So we have to kind of go through, also circle back with the people at Stellar frequently and understand what they are looking for. And as we do that, we will over time develop kind of a more comprehensive set of guidelines for these approvals, which we can then hopefully share shortly. So the answer is, unfortunately, I can't just tell you that now. We're going to have to take a look at that README, at the repo, in order to make a decision, which, you can always just apply and see what happens, right? So that's the only answer I can give, unfortunately.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. I'm going to merge these two questions. On the projects, okay, I guess. What type of projects are valued on drips? And then the other question is, if the wave begins by 21st, shouldn't we already have access to the project so that we can start taking a look at the documentation and stuff?
Yeah, Kat, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So maybe I can answer about the timing. So basically, right now, the platform is open for maintainers to add their repos, add their issues. We will let you know when you're able to access the platform ahead of the 21st. The 21st is the first day that you'll actually be able to start applying for issues, but we'll let you know when you can go in and start taking a look at everything. So yeah, and then there's 10 days to apply for and complete the issues before we close the point system for this wave. And to kind of go back to a previous question as well, this Stellar is doing these waves on a monthly basis. So the wave will close and then it won't be long until actually the next wave opens. So we're going to be doing this on this recurring monthly cycle. So if you miss out on contributing in the first wave, it won't actually be all that long until the next wave starts. So yeah, we'll keep you updated with all of those dates in our Discord and across all of our socials as well.
Yeah, just one thing to add real quick on the timeline as well is that the repo list, as we approve the first repos, which is going to happen quite shortly, can't share an exact timeline, but very soon, definitely at least days before the wave actually starts. So you will be able to see repos that will be open for contributions, and you will have some time to prepare for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Kat. So the last question I have here is there a limit to the number of issues that maintainers can create in a project? Is there a limit on the issues that maintainers can create in a project?
Yes, good question. It's kind of similar to what I said earlier about like, can people apply to as many issues as they want? Currently, there are no kind of game designed limits at the moment. So we of course will monitor this, and if a project adds 1 million issues, then we'll do something about it. But for now, we're also kind of like in the process of collecting some data and understanding like where we might have to add some, guardrails in the future. But yeah, that's the current situation.
And again, we'd advise you to focus on quality over quantity as well.
Yeah.
This is all about like growing your community of contributors and bringing people into your project. So giving them issues that are actually like valued within the project is, of course, like the #1 priority here.
Yeah. And maybe just to add one more level to that, like creating a lot of spammy issues is against the rules. So if that happens, your repo might get removed from the wave, right? So like, yeah, just keep that in mind. High quality issues is what it's all about.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Kat. So I don't know if you still have any questions, please feel free to send them. I'm going to give about 2 minutes for people to still send the questions, or you can also add it to the form. You can also add it to the form if you still have any questions. If you do not have any questions, it's also important to note that if you have any questions later on or any issues that you encounter, feel free to post it on our Discord and we'll be sure to respond to your queries or your issues. Again, the links have been shared in the chat box. So if you scroll up, it's pinned at the top. You'll be able to see the link to our Discord and links to every other resource that you need. Okay, I don't think there are any new questions coming in. So that's a wrap for this session. I'm going to be handing over to Lucas.
Great, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna recap a little bit what we heard about today. So you saw the demo. Hugo shared a few operational things, like the wave is 10 days long. It's officially starting on the 21st. Registration for maintainers already started yesterday, so you have this week to apply. Contributors, you can go in the platform, start getting familiar with it, start looking at the projects that get approved. And then extra bonus points with the social share. Becca is gonna share the necessary link, the GIFs, everything. That's gonna be on the Discord, which is a good segue to join the community, join Discord, follow us on Twitter. That's the place where we post things, right? And where you can interact with us. And then we are gonna be also hosting a Twitter space with Stellar next week. Time and date to be confirmed, but just wait for that. It's gonna be probably on their Twitter account, on their X account. Hugo will also share a recap. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, the good frame of mind for contributors is play long games. Think of this as an opportunity to get into the community or to get deeper into the community. The longer you stay, the more points you earn, the more opportunities you will get. And we have a lot of examples from the past application of people that did really good things and maybe started their own projects, found a job, right? So play those infinite games. And that's a good frame of mind. And for maintainers, on the other hand, the same thing. Put issues that are gonna actually help your project move forward, that are gonna actually get people excited about checking your repository. So, as long as you do that, you will do pretty well, in my opinion. And then we're very, very excited to see you again next week. Just stay tuned for the recap for the next week, Stellar call, and for the social share to get the bonus points. All right, it was very nice to see everyone. Thanks for joining. Tell your friends. Let us know if you have any feedback, any comments, anything that didn't come up to mind right now. We are all ears, and we hope you also enjoyed it. All right, see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you in the wave.
Cheers.